Nerd Soul.
Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and that shirt, that nerd soul, man. It's Star Trek time. You best believe it. All right, you been at home chilling like, yo, man. When nerd soul gonna talk about Star Trek? Cause I've been waiting. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody do it up like him and the cinematic sorcerer, who I have right here. I'd like to introduce y'all to Solar Gray. What's up?
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And I have a poster and it is pinned up. I hope we're saying the same thing.
Oh man, let's get started with charades. We missed the episode called charades, and basically, hey man, Spock is human for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. No, not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Spock just getting his human on, and I want to zero in on the proposed mother-in-law, T'Pring's mom, aka to to press whatever the girl name was. Look, all right, her mama is a full hater. All right,
Bruh.
full hater. And if the trip
Bruh.
is the dad comes in, he's like, this is good. She was like, they're not up to code. He's like, oh yeah, these ain't good.
I did notice that when I was looking at this episode. I'm like, there seems to be this trope of intolerable mom and cool dad on TV shows now. And I'm like, when did that happen? Because it was the same thing for Miss Marvel.
It used to be like smart mom and dumb dad.
Yeah. And now it's, I want him as my dad, but oh my God, I don't want her as my mom.
Oh man, like even I mean she's cruel the whole man. Look, she's cruel the whole time. And the trip is they have this like they have their little awareness ritual or whatever. It's basically just a roast. It's like look, all right, for like 60 seconds, you get to just burn this person. All right, just anything you don't like, you can just burn them up. And I know
Which
Vulcans
I support 100%, by the way. I am all in on that. Just like, all right, look, future mother-in-law, you got 60 seconds to go up one side of me and down the other. Get it out now. Because once I put that ring on it, I don't want to hear this no more.
Oh man, like even when he asked to use the bathroom, even though of course he's trying to hide the human part, she's like, a Vulcan must have more resilient bladder. It's like, yo, you cannot win with this woman. You literally cannot win. Like, just because you got to use the bathroom, she's hating on how small your bladder is and that he's half Vulcan and this, that, and the third. Like, yo, it's the mom, T'Pring's mom is a trip. Even though she does check her, she at the end she was like, "Mother, your assessment is not required." That was
okay. I feel kind of
like
dumb
that.
right now. I was still broadcasting on Twitch and YouTube.
Oh snap! What's up?
No, one of my viewers is like, "Hey man, you're still on." I'm like, "Oh, I thought I pushed the button." But yeah,
So
yeah.
that's hilarious. The way just the mom comes in and she's just burning everyone left and right. But the dad is like, "Oh, this is good," and he's like, "Yeah, this you probably use some more practice." And then I love when we suddenly found out that Ma Dukes don't know how to season nothing. Because like when the captain is like, yeah, Captain Pike's like, yeah, I put salt in it. He was like, ooh. And then he was like, oh no, this is not good. But then when it was
Well,
time to
all
go, he
right.
was like,
In
can I
all
get
fairness,
can I get a to-go plate?
now I need to ask you the question: did you see, like I saw, that they had some black writers in the room on that episode?
Yo, they had to.
Because
Like,
T'Pring's mom, she was straight up racist, Joe. I mean,
Straight,
straight
like,
up,
straight
even
up.
down to, I don't like the way they smell.
Yeah.
I'm like, Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. They went old school bigot on this one.
Yep.
Because you brought up like the whole, Ma don't season her food, but that's because the Vulcans have a really strong sense of smell, and that whole smelling human. And I'm like, oh snap.
Yeah.
And this whole episode can be looked at as an allegory for multiracial children discovering the darker side of their heritage. And I say darker side because I'm not talking just half black, half white, but any other cultural half side. Because the way that Spock went off on that bacon, I will tell you, I have seen my white friends come to my mama's house, eat my mama's cooking, going, oh man, what's that wonderful smell? Oh my god, it's so sweet and spicy and smoky and salty all at once. Oh my god, eat. I'm like, yo. when he was going crazy over that bacon, I was like, man, slow down. I'm like, he's like, why do I feel nauseous? He's like, bro, this is your out-of-state cousin's first time at the cookout. Like, that's what I was seeing.
It's like, man, that is way too much bacon. 1 to 2 strips, man. Don't like. He probably ate like a half a pound of bacon. It's like, bro, don't look. First, slow up. All right, that is way too much fat and salt at one time. You don't normally eat this. All right, even for people that normally eat it, it's not good. But still, pace yourself. Like 2 strips of bacon. You know what I'm saying? Let that chill. You know what I'm saying? And just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Even Captain Pike was like, you might want to slow down. He was like, why would I?
I'm making up for lost time. Give me more of that bacon.
Oh man,
I'm a Vulcan. I can take this straight out the skillet.
Man, that was cool. So I did enjoy the episode for that. I also like the mom side, even though like when mom showed up, I was like, you're doing a lot with that dress. I was like,
one, I don't like that she was so pretty, but second,
I was like, where is your man at?
No. Honestly, so here's the thing, being a lifelong Trekker, all right, I have seen so many actors play Sarek, all right, and the relationship between Sarek and Spock at most points in Spock's life is very well known. But the only time we really got to see a look into his relationship with his mama was in the movie with Chris Pine. And that was like, blink and you'll miss it, So the fact that he was turned human and the writer said, you know what? He's now a teenage boy. He needs his mama. That's who he needs. And I loved that writing. I loved it because this show, Discovery, and the Kelvin verse are really delving into the fact that Vulcans have emotions. They just spend a lifetime suppressing them, which hopefully in the future it'll they'll do half as much into attention into showing how that difference affects the Vulcans and the Romulans, because they're the same species. It's just the Romulans are like, I ain't about the suppression stuff. We gone.
Well, also because that whole assessment thing, there was a lot of emotion in there. Like like Vulcans pretend like they don't have emotion or that they suppress it. Nah, y'all use your emotion. See, as someone who has worked in corporate America, you use all of the emotions that are tied to passive aggression.
Yes.
And
oh yeah.
That whole awareness was steeped in passive aggression. And it's like because you could tell she was enjoying going in on Spock.
Well, they even pointed that out with the mother, the minute's up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can stop talking now.
Like she was enjoying that. She was going deep
I was
into
almost
I hate you.
I was almost expecting like a choir to pop up behind her. She was just like, and you're a traitor to your people, and you're a disappointment in your father, and you're making the people look bad. And I'm just like, okay, all right, she's on a tear now. She's on a tear. She gonna start sweating. The band gonna start playing. She gonna start dancing.
Man, and it's a trip because you could tell, and I mean, I've seen this in real life too, but of course this is playing out on the show, but you could tell by the father's disposition, this how she is.
Yep.
This how she is. She ain't putting on for Spock. This is how she do. If we at the grocery store, if we're at the mall, if we're at church, if she's at work, no matter where, this is how she is. Because he was sitting there like, oh God, here we go. And the funny thing is, if you ask those type of men, that was not the woman they married.
Yeah.
It's like this is when we met, when we were 22 or something, she was not like this. It's like, I don't know what happened. This is not the woman I married. But yeah, you could see in even when he came in trying to enjoy the food, she was like, mm-mm. She was like, nope, there will be no enjoyment here. She set the tone of no one's going to have fun.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the home field advantage so I could burn Spock down, and I don't have that. So now that I don't have that, everyone's going to be unhappy.
Oh yeah, this was all about power. This whole thing was about power. And she just came in and she was just like, nope, I disapprove. I want everybody to know I disapprove. And disapproval. And oh yeah, by the way, disapprove. Oh, did you catch that disapprove?
A little piece of disapproval to add to that disapproval.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna just spice up my disapproval with some condemnation. How's that? Like seriously. But I gotta say, from a filmmaking perspective, the women in this episode killed it. Killed all of it. I was just between T'Pring herself, her mama, Nurse Chapel, Ortegas, and Uhura. I'm like, all right, yeah, girls get it done on this one.
Because they got a chance to hang out with Blue and Yellow.
Yeah.
I love how Yellow was a perfect example of the AI chatbot. It's like, you have been helped. Goodbye. It's like, no, wait. It's like,
I'm glad you brought that up, man.
You have been fixed. Goodbye. It's like, no. I don't. I'm not fixed. I got to call back in.
Yeah, exactly. There are no more operators to assist your call.
Okay,
please call back later. Goodbye.
I pressed 3, so this time I'll press 2. It's like, or you intentionally press the wrong one because you're like, at least I can maybe get to a human, and then they can send me to the right person. But then they send you to somewhere, and they're like, nah, man, you got to go back in there. It's like, but they told me I had to talk to you. That just happened to me last week. So,
I want to talk about Nurse Chapel because I know we got to speed through because we're doing 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Nurse Chapel on this one.
Love struck nurse.
Huh? I didn't want to touch on that part. I wanted to talk about.
That's a lot of the part.
I know, but like I said, we got a lot to talk about, but we're also talking 3 episodes. I wanted to talk to you about her internship on Vulcan.
Ooh.
Just that, I mean, this episode was very much aimed at the people that watched Enterprise.
Okay.
Because the whole premise of Enterprise was the forming of the Federation and the budding of the relationship between Vulcans and Earth. And it made very clear in the show Enterprise with Captain Archer and his dog, Vulcans do not like us.
Nah, they're not too keen on humans.
No, they do not like people. I mean, they suppress a lot of emotions, but the main emotion that they suppress in regards to humans is a disdainful respect. Because they're like, well, they accomplished their goals. but we don't like how they do it. We don't like how they think. We just don't like them. But at least they do the job. They're like that one coworker at the office that nobody wants to be around, but they can't be fired.
Yeah, it's like they can't be fired, and not because they're the manager's son or something. It's because like they really are so good.
Yeah.
Like I worked with a guy. He was extremely standoffish. I think I may have seen him laugh once in the course of like 2-3 years. He was extremely closed off, short, snippy with every response that he would give. But I've never seen someone write code how he does. I'll be honest. I've never seen someone write code like him, ever. Like he could start from a blank page, not copying a block and then modifying from there, from a blank page and be like, okay, so what do you want it to do? All right, and just start typing.
Yeah,
like that's so. I kind of understand.
But sounds like you worked with my business mentor.
But he was annoying.
Yeah. And so yeah, and it's not that humans are over the like generally like that to the Vulcans in the sense of I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to do my job. It's the opposite. We are literally we want to make friends with everybody, and by the way, we're good at what we do, and why don't you like us? And come on, so Vulcans really don't like humans. And this came out, I really liked the wrap up of Nurse Chapel's thing where it was like, no, we don't want you in here because you didn't do it this way, but you can always apply again later. And she's like, oh, I went to subspace today and I talked with a new form of life that hasn't been known in this galaxy for millions of years, and I learned some old medical techniques. What medical techniques?
Don't worry about it.
Click. I'm like, you go.
It's like, you know what? It's that moment when you realize you've been trying so hard to be down with somebody, maybe down with their crew, their clique, whatever it is. And then you realize, like, you know what? I don't even really like y'all. Because it's like, I'm looking at Nurse Chapel, even before at the beginning of this episode, when she had the first meeting with the guy, I was like, you don't need them. Like, girl, like, yo, you be like going on all kinds of adventures and doing like in the first season alone, like you don't need them. But of course, again, they got to go through the learning and the character arc and stuff. But I was just like, you don't need them.
Look, most people don't know their own magnificence until they're forced to see it. I say it all the time. I don't remember when I became 6'4". I just one day I noticed that I was. So for Nurse Chapel, life on the Enterprise is just Tuesday.
Yeah. You do. It is kind of one of those things where you don't realize how much you got done until, like, because I will say one thing about project management and tracking things, even though I hate tracking things because it's an extra thing to do that just gets in my way. But when you get to the end of a quarter and it's like, look at all the stuff you finished. It's like, oh man, I did all that. Because you're just so busy working, you forget, like, oh yeah, I completed like 400 tickets in like the last 3 months. Wow, I didn't know that. I because I'm just working. Just like Nurse Chapel, it's like, yeah, you realize like you fought hand-to-hand combat behind enemy lines and stuff. Like you are the bomb. You dope. Like, don't worry about them. Like you don't need that.
Yeah, and it is an interesting thing. This is why this is something that people learn postgraduate in college or in martial arts, is that the path to the place that you want to go in those things always come with teaching. Okay, you can't get a black belt until you're a TA. You can't get your master's degree unless you're a TA. Because in teaching those who haven't come as far as you have, you definitely get an understanding of how far you've come.
I feel you on that.
And that, well, of course you do. You're a dad now.
Yeah, like I even said on one of our streams when we were during Father's Day, I was like, if you asked me like before, I'd be like, man, I'm a pretty patient guy. It's like, yeah, you're not patient enough. But
You know,
we're striving every day. Striving every day.
hey man, you know what I say? Just try and get 3 inches further today than you did last time you tried. All right. Um. So yeah, but all in all, I gotta say, like the charades episode, I I respect the bittersweet ending
Yeah.
because as a fan of the original series, I know where that relationship is going.
Oh, see, I know nothing of the original series except like the aesthetic and the look. So I don't know anything. So it's kind of like new to me. Now I do have some relationship advice for Spock, and also for anyone else out there. Um, to bring one's time apart, bruh, you single. All right, you single. Just give it up. Like, look, if when a woman says she wants time apart, you just single. You just single. And then,
Spoiler,
and then for
he's not.
T'Pring,
Yeah, he's not single.
well, in
She
my
needs some time to
opinion,
calm down. Um,
because in my opinion, or in my opinion and experience, whenever a woman says, "I need time apart," just you done. You just finished. That she
in
she
real
just
life,
she
you
don't
might
want to
be
rip the band-aid off. She wants it to like fade away. Just you're
well.
single.
In real life, you might be on to something, but in Star Trek, she just needs to go calm down.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now, also, since she needs time apart, at this moment, even though I'm saying you're single, in her mind, y'all aren't single. So technically, once you kiss old girl, aka a nurse Chapel, you was cheap. All right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Spock, I'm gonna need you
It's
to
time to rip that band-aid off, Spock, but you
yeah,
ain't gonna rip that band-aid off.
because you
Because
can't.
it ain't as simple as this relationship ain't working. Let's try something new and different because of political and social expectations. Remember, the whole thing with T'Pring's family was to avoid scandal.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And we don't come from that world, but I've seen that world. And no thanks.
Yeah.
But I will say this. And boy, am I gonna get it in your comment section. I agreed with T'Pring.
No. I feel you on that. Because this is something that you would think that he would talk to her about. But I can also understand him being scared of her judgment.
I get that.
But
and they played the scene out where he was trying to tell her very well.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, she brought up the very logical thing that I couldn't argue with. And I'm like, no, you're right. Which is everybody else on the ship was helping you with this charade. Everybody was here.
And you left me out. And I'm supposed to be your woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like we're about to get married and you don't trust me to have your back against my mama? Yeah, I need some time.
Yeah, so I definitely agree.
Or against my mama, who I don't like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure her and her mother have a strained relationship.
Yeah. It's a lot of push and pull, probably because they're just alike, because that is how it actually goes in real life.
Yeah.
I don't like you because you remind me of everything about myself that I hate. Well, you made me. You know.
It's like it's your fault. I learned it from you, Dad.
You beat me to it by half a second. I learned it by watching you.
All right, but yeah, Charades is dope. Let me get some final thoughts on Charades. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, the story itself was really good. Not gonna lie, I felt a little bit strained because they were leaning so hard into the comedy. The story itself was really strong on its own. But that whole montage of them trying to teach human Spock to be Vulcan Spock, that was a little overdone.
Okay, I enjoyed it. So okay, all right, interesting.
Yeah. Especially at that moment of everybody making fun of Spock. And then him going, do I really sound like that? And all of them are like, yes, yeah. I am Spock. I love logic. Watch how I move my eyebrow and no other muscle in my face.
Man.
I'm like, thank you for the acting lesson, but this montage is a little bit much.
All right, I'm sorry. I was a sucker for that. I'm sorry. Especially when he was like, do I really say? Yes, you do. And we can't stand it. So I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for that one, guys. I did like that sequence.
Yeah.
Poor Spock, man. Poor Spock. But all right, cool. But I'll move on to Lost in Translation, which, once again, our crew gets to shine. I love where everyone in the crew gets to shine. And no, it's not like a whole bunch of faceless people in the background. It's just the captain doing whatever he wants to do. But here, I wanna get your thoughts on this. On a grand scale, what I got is sometimes you could be doing something that you think is great and not even aware that you're hurting someone that doesn't know how to tell you that you're hurting them. Or maybe am I trying to go too far on that one?
You really want my opinion?
Am I trying to go too far? But maybe I'm going too far.
You really want my opinion?
All right, what's your opinion on that?
You are inches away from one of the biggest universal truths.
Okay. Why? Thank you. I try.
Because the world is not as full of bad guys as the past 2 generations of Americans have been taught to believe. And that being said, that means that most people who cause harm do so accidentally.
And then once you're harmed, you respond because you're like, hey, I'm harmed and I don't care what you meant, I'm angry. And then once you respond, they're like, hey, why you do? And then next thing you know, you got a full-blown fight.
Well, the true test of character is how does one respond to that harm? On both sides. Okay. We both grew up in less than middle class circumstances.
Yeah.
So when accidents happen and some kid in middle school is walking down the hallway and they trip and they bump into somebody and that person turns around swinging.
Yeah.
It's that is a trauma response. And most folks in the United States, I don't care what walk of life you come from, are taught from a very early age that most folks are out there to hurt you. And this episode really shows that not only is malicious intent not very common as far as the ratio of interactions go, but most harm is done accidentally. But the test of character is, what is the response when the harm is understood and it is time to act upon that harm? That's really big. That is really, really big. Being a black dude in white spaces, I am constantly combating this idea that if my actions harm someone, malicious intent is assigned. And I'm like, whoa, people make mistakes. Errors are made.
Not for you. It reminds me of that scene in ATL. I mean, not ATL, in Atlanta, where, because I forgot, there's a movie called ATL. There's a movie called ATL and then show Atlanta. But in Atlanta, they were talking about, I think it was the episode where they had an agent or whatever, and I think it was Darius was like, we don't get second chances. Like, we
Yeah.
don't get a second chance. That's it. Like, you mess up and that's it, because they'll be like, you did this on purpose. It's your fault, or you're punished in a way where there is a finality to it.
Yeah.
There isn't. You
The
can
punishments that are laid on us are the same degree of extremity, or the punishments that are laid on our accidents come at the same degree and intensity as the punishments laid on other people who intend to do harm. And this shows the true character of Captain Pike, I gotta say. When Uhura came up and said, look, they're communicating with me, we are messing them up, we need to do this other thing. And what did Pike do? You sure? Yeah, I'm real sure. All right, let's do it. And if there's any heat, it falls on me. Now go take a nap.
Yeah, he's like, you
I'm
got
like,
this.
bruh.
Do your thing.
I'm like, bro, why are there not more managers in the workplace like that?
A manager that supports his actual team is worth his or her weight in gold. Like, because I think I may have seen that maybe like once in my professional life, twice maybe. And because normally it's just like, oh, just pass the blame and move on. But for a manager to say, no, you believe this, let's go, let's do this. That's very rare.
Yeah.
Like,
But I do gotta say though, that's what differentiates Pike from the other captains in Star Trek. Like, that's his distinguishing feature. Is not only does he trust his crew, but he jumps on the grenades for all of them all the time. Like, all the time. It is refreshing.
I mean, and not even with a hesitation.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, look, I got your back. We're literally all in this together. I got your back.
Oh yeah, Una's not allowed to be here because of how she was born. No, I did that. What? I did it.
Yeah, it's all on me. But
this
go ahead. Sorry.
Episode, I gotta say, was Star Trek horror at its best. Star Trek doesn't go into horror movie territory very often.
Even though it could, especially if you lean on like the exploration part, because to believe that we're always going to just go to a planet that'll be nice, or even a planet that's got like warriors there. Sometimes you might go to a planet where it might be like the movie Pitch Black, even though I know that's a very different sci-fi action type of feel, but there's no guarantee you could go to a planet where there's like, I don't know, say wolves that are the size of bulls, something like that. Or, there's no guarantee that planet doesn't exist.
Well, as it said in the first J.J. Abrams movie, space is death and disease wrapped in darkness and silence. And I'm like, thank you for setting that up. Now let's see some.
Yeah, because
this episode did not disappoint. Because
the paranoia, the hallucinations, that was cool. Well, cool for us to watch, but it was bad for them.
So we gonna talk about the man.
Who? Kirk v. Kirk?
Yeah, the Conversation of Brothers from James, Tiberius, and Sam, the science officer of the Enterprise. Those two, I love how those two are written.
And then the conversation about their relationship with their father, and how it seems like one has excelled, and like almost like his aptitude has like outshined him or stunted his growth or whatever. It was nice to see their perspectives on one another and their perspectives on their dad's I guess, love or maybe favor on one another.
Yes.
That was cool. Like,
yeah, that was very cool.
That one-on-one was a great spot in this show or this episode.
You know, and you very much like they wrote those brothers very well. Because even when they had to team up, there was always a little, oh, yeah, it's almost like I know what I'm doing on my job, huh?
Oh, boy. It's like, you know, maybe I am competent. It's like, I never said you weren't. Like, oh, speaking of Kirk, we did see Lon, you know, like around, like, you know, she gave him a look. She peeped him out in her own little way.
So yeah, with that, now, I'm not gonna lie. My least favorite part of Kirk was the womanizing. Although, being a watcher of TOS, it wasn't Kirk's womanizing that got on my nerves. It was his constant attempt. Because the real womanizer on the Enterprise in the original series was Chekhov. And if you watch the show and do the count, you'll be like, dude, Chekhov is everywhere. What is up with this dude? Yeah. Yeah, Chekhov was the real F-boy on that one. Kirk was hitting on everything all the time, but Chekhov was succeeding.
Okay, all right, Chekhov, I see you out there in them streets.
Yeah, serious. Oh man, he was all over them.
In this, at least here, Kirk seems more, and I mean, of course, this is, you know, younger Kirk, but he seems like he's definitely suave. He's got the confidence and charisma, but he's not like overt.
Yeah, he hasn't punched a hippie and made him cry yet. But but yeah, just that whole, oh yes, yes, the security officer who's really dedicated on the records. Yeah, here are the answers. And then as she walks away, he lobs that last. And don't forget, or don't think I forgot about that drink you owe me. Oh yeah.
He's like, hey girl, I'm seeing you.
Seriously, man. I'm like, okay, is he gonna put on some Isaac Hayes or something?
He peeped her when she was walking away. He was like, let me see a little. All right, I see what you're working with.
You know, grave in love, you know.
It's like, or when she comes by his court, it's like, oh, I just happen to be playing this smooth jazz. Sorry, excuse me. How may I assist you?
Exactly. I'm just like, dude, stop setting all these traps. I get it. Kirk hit on women. Can we move on? Because the episode with Lahan and the time travel, like we talked about, I liked that Kirk.
Yeah, you could see that it was. I mean, he's genuinely like a charismatic, you know, he's flirtatious, but it wasn't like he was just, you know, chasing after any old skirt kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I know it's hard to kind of explain that, but you can definitely feel that the difference in that energy between like different people.
It comes down to there are those that do and those that try. And this Kirk tried, and the Kirk from the alternate universe as they were written did. You know, and that's a thing. So, but in his relationship with Uhura, that was the doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like, wow, she punched me in the mouth. Let me talk to this person.
Yeah, because he made sure to let it be known, like he's like, I'm not here to try to like, you know, either deter your plan or even try to hit on you. Like, you know, I'm willing to listen. What do you have to say? What's going on?
Yeah. You know, when he's like, I've been sleep deprived and I've had Deuterium poisoning, but I've never punched a superior officer. I'm like, yeah, all right. So, you know, that whole thing of I've been where you are and I didn't do what you did. So there's something deeper in there. You need to talk about it. So, because I don't want to have you fired.
Yeah, like, and Uhura, it also seeing her at this stage in her career, is cool too, because we see all of these people kind of like becoming, of course, the crew that we see later on, which, we kind of see the crew to a certain degree hang out for the first time at the end of this episode. Like you see
some of them, yeah.
Well, yeah, some like not the whole crew, but I guess you could, I don't know, maybe I don't know if I could call it the core crew, because I'd say the core would probably be two more people, but
the real core of the TOS crew was Spock, Kirk, and Bones.
Oh, okay.
They were the ones that were always leaving the ship together.
True.
But I went through the inventory when they had that shot at the end. I'm like, okay, we have 3. Now we need Sulu, Bones, and Scotty.
Yeah, because that's and see, I would consider probably Sulu and Bones, but I guess Scotty too. Got it. So that would be. I would say 6 would be the core crew.
Yeah,
that would.
Chekhov was number 7, but he didn't come around until season 2.
Ah,
yeah, which was the Star Trek fans' continuity error in the movie The Wrath of Khan. Because in Space Seed season 1, where Khan met the Enterprise and they left him on Ceti Alpha 5, or Ceti Alpha 6. And Khan looks at Chekhov saying, "Wait, I never forget a face." Chekhov wasn't there. he wasn't on the Enterprise at that point.
Maybe he was just doing that to psych him out. Don't ask. Nah.
Yeah, so it was just a small continuity error, but it's a thing. But I can point out continuity errors in practically everything that is classic, because there's only one perfect movie that's ever been made with no errors, and it's taught in film school. Now, but I definitely gotta say, it was the storyline that really stuck out to me. Was there's always the A plot and the B plot, and the B plot is always the reflection of the A plot. This is screenwriting 101. But this is the real big one for me. The Una and the new engineer getting the space station back online.
Okay.
That
was nice.
I loved watching. Where it was like, that whole look, I know, you're my boss, and I know you don't like me, and I am too old to care.
Also, that whole part of like, you gave me a C. It's like, no, you earned a C. I didn't give you anything. Like,
but see, you're mad because
reminds me of one of my old coaches slash teachers. Like, you earned this. I didn't give you anything.
Yeah, well, why'd you fail me? Because you didn't do your homework for 3 weeks. What was I supposed to do?
I didn't fail you. You failed you.
But just that whole, you think you don't know how to deal with not being the smartest person in the room. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room. Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do.
And then she came around with, "You've been in Starfleet since before I was born, and I outrank you. So what does that say?" And she just walks away like, "See, smartest person in the room." Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
because it's kind of like, do you really think that rank means anything? Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest, Una. Una, when you were down, when they had to go back to that place, the place where people forget stuff. When you were down there and people started shooting and folks was dying and bullets was flying all over the place, did rank matter? Do you think rank really matters, or is it something pretty that we get to polish off that sits on our desk? Like,
well, it was that when she turned around and walked away, it was, think about what you were saying. Because yes, I've been in Starfleet this long. Do you honestly think that I wouldn't be running this place if I wanted to?
True.
Like, I remember when this thing was formed. Or in the words of Aslan, don't talk to me about the old ways of magic, witch. I was there when they were written, But she didn't have to say it. She just kind of turned around and walked away saying, "See, use what you can."
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
And I've had those arguments with old people where your elders just go up one side, down the other, and you pull out anything that you can because you're feeling so vulnerable. And then they're like, look, it ain't the C. It's because of A, B, C, D, and E. You're feeling vulnerable. You don't know what to do about it. You don't even know how to talk about it. But if you want to think it was because of the C, that's fine. Whatever helps you sleep at night. And that quiet understanding that was left between Carol Kane and Rebecca Romijn. I'm like, dude, that was brilliant. Like, that was where the episode existed for me.
Yeah, it was really good. And then I guess you could say they're kind of like, I guess, togetherness, even after the fight, they continue to sort of stick it through and make it work.
Yeah. Although I am seeing a theme in these 2 episodes of crumbs. Because with Charades, the part that actually had me laughing a lot was Spock in relation to Sam Kirk. Just the first scene where he's talking about the stress exercises and he gets up and he picks up Sam's cookie and coffee. And then when he becomes human, it's like, dude, clean up your mess.
Man,
dude, seriously, clean up your mess.
That was golden. Because he was like, don't play with me, Kirk.
I will end you. You will clean up your cookie crumbs. And then in the next episode, we've got Una going, and you've got crumbs on your uniform. I haven't even seen you eat today.
Like, how do you get crumbs on your uniform? That was beautiful. But all right, I'll go to slide through to the last episode we're covering today.
Bro.
The beauty that we got from San Diego Comic-Con, they decided to bless us with an extra episode last week. Those old scientists.
That was the hardest episode of Strange New Worlds I have ever watched. It was so difficult.
And why is that?
Because I had to pause it so that I can laugh. Because there were so many in-jokes from so many shows. Because that's how Lower Decks is written.
And they had to mix in the Lower Decks. And they did a good job of going from the animation to the real world, then back to the animation at the end, using the Lower Decks intro. Like, there was so many cool things about
it really was
about this. And the actor for Boimler, the actress for Mariner, it all worked. Like, it really did.
Well, I believe the actor and the actresses were the actual cast of Lower
Oh, really?
Decks.
Yeah,
that was Noah Wells. And I was a little mad because I'm like, is it necessary for every actor to look like Bill Hader right now? Because him, the dude from The Boys, Bill Hader himself, I'm like, they all have the same face.
They do have a very similar look. Like, if you told me they were like cousins or something, I'd be like, oh, I believe you.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I guess we're out of the Hemsworth time period, but then we did have the Baldwins for a long time. So,
True.
I still back the strike. But yeah, how can I put this? Like, when it was animated, I caught a lot of the jokes because I'm a big fan of Lower Decks, but
Lower Decks is straight fire.
But when that comedy hit live action, it hit different. When he was in The Room, when they brought him in and he got on the saddle and he's like, Riker, I literally stopped and just hit the floor.
It was because he called it. It's just like we would be like Kobe. Like, he just like,
And if you guys don't know the private joke, if you turn on Star Trek: The Next Generation, Jonathan Frakes as Riker has every single character has something that is signaturely theirs, and Jonathan Frakes has 2 things: One, he's always leaning when you see him in frame, and that's because he was the tallest actor on staff other than Michael Dorn, because Jonathan Frakes is like 6'4", 6'5".
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why whenever you watch The Next Generation, he's sitting or leaning.
To kind of not be out, not be too tall. Because everyone else is probably like 5'6", 5'7".
5'10", 5'6" to 5'10". So he's always leaning over, and he's got his arm, or he's got one of his legs on something, like it's on a chair or something like that.
And you would have Captain Morgan's on this piece.
Yeah, exactly. But the actual Riker move is turned to any scene in The Next Generation when he's in 10 forward, and he never pulls out his own chair. He just steps over the back of it and sits down.
Yeah.
That's the Riker. So when he did that to get on the saddle, I died because I know the move.
That was perfect, man.
If he had
said that.
Yeah, if he had stood up from his chair and pulled the bottom of his uniform top down and said Picard, I also would have died.
Yeah, because he's like, let me straighten up my shirt.
Well,
or I guess jacket or whatever it is.
In season 2, before they came with the jackets, the costumes would ride up. So every time Picard got out of the captain's chair to talk to the screen, he would have to pull his uniform shirt down, and that's called the Picard maneuver.
See, I didn't even know that. I had no idea.
Lower Decks is built on that meta knowledge. So when he got on the saddle and was like, Riker, I literally had to pause the episode
Riker was
and
hilarious.
Die laughing.
That was genuinely funny. And then oh, cool, no problem. I'm not going to mess up history. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to sit back here and be quiet. It's like, nah, he's about to mess all this up. And not even like he's trying to mess it up. He's just going to mess it up because he messes things up. That's what he does. So I truly enjoyed it, man. That was a good part of the episode, is just seeing Boimler be Boimler, and then seeing Mariner come through and call him Boims and stuff.
When Noel Wells came through, yeah. Now this was new for me because I hadn't put together that Noel Wells is Don Wells' daughter.
Really?
So set the flashback machine for 1987 in the show A Different World, where the character Jaleesa was played by Dawn Wells, and she is the captain of the Cerritos.
Hold up, no, Don. Is it Wells? No, Don Lewis, right?
Don Wells. Yeah. Well, I thought it was. Hang on. Hello, Google.
Yeah, Don Lewis.
Okay.
I know it's Don Lewis because back in the day, you know what I'm saying? I'm a married man now, but I'm just saying back in the day, everybody was crazy about, another young lady in the cast, but I was peeping out Jaleesa.
You're right. It's Don Lewis. My bad. So take back everything I said. That is not her actual daughter.
Don Lewis back in the day.
Okay, you were peeping on Don Lewis. I had a thing. I had a major thing for it doesn't. Anybody who has seen me on your show before knows who I totally was head over heels for back in those days. It
was on that show.
Yeah.
If it was on that show, it had to be Freddie, right?
See, you went straight to Cree Summers. There's no question.
I was like, it had to be Freddie. Like Fred, yeah. Fred.
My rank was Cree Summers, Jasmine Guy, then Marissa Tomei.
Freddie was doing way too much. She was doing way too much. I couldn't, because she gonna try to hippify me and stuff, and I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't want to do all that.
That was the thing that no, sorry. Before Jasmine Guy, there was Millicent. I forgot about her. She was Ron's girl before Ron and Freddie got together. She was also Whitley's best friend. But again, let's stop being two old men talking about a show that nobody watches anymore and get back to so my bad. I thought Don Lewis's last name was Wells because they have the mother-daughter thing.
I forgot about Millicent. You're right. Yeah. She had the big old glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Ron's girl for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, but my mistake. I thought Don Lewis's last name was Wells because Noel Wells, the voice of Mariner, and the actress that plays her looks so much like Dawn Lewis. Like looks so much like her. It was almost uncanny. I saw so much of her in her face.
Oh no. Sorry. Noah Wells does Tindy.
Okay.
Tawny Newsome does Beckett. I mean, does Mariner. Jack
Okay.
Quaid. Well, we know Jack Quaid.
Yeah.
We already know. We know Boimler, but we know Crazy Boimler, who is actually kind of cool, but he needs help. But the poor guy just needs some. He just needs help. But yeah, the way that they were able to bring their characters through, not only in voice, because I mean we know they know their voices, but their kind of body language was very.
Oh, their performance was spot on.
Yeah, their body language, their chemistry with one another. It's like, oh no, like y'all do this. Like y'all are better than just like, oh, okay, yeah, we researched the character, to do the voice. Like, no, you actually watch the show and have their bodies down, like how they interact with one another, even though it's live action space. Like you can't do cartoony stuff, but just like sort of like the body postures and stuff that they were doing. It was super cool.
Right. And I was very, yeah. Again, that was the funniest episode that I'd ever seen of Strange New Worlds. I mean, it was super hilarious. And I'm not gonna lie, the plot line itself, it was really, really well put together. Like it wasn't just a hey, let's cross these guys over for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like they were like, hey, we want to do some special to cross these guys over, but it's got to be clever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think they really kind of hit the nail on the head with it being just a reason to do something cool for the fans, but to make it clever and fun. Like it was fun. It was a way to kind of like thread the needle between like Tindy's great grandmother or great one of them, and then have Boimler mess up a couple things, give some life to Una a little bit, because she was like, I wish you wouldn't have told me that, but I thank you so much. Those kind of things, they were awesome. And then even seeing like the whole cast together. If you guys get a chance, go to Tawny Newsome's Instagram. She has like photos with her and the rest of the cast, like her, Uhura, Nurse Chapel, Dr. Mbinga. All of them are like hanging out and stuff. So it's like it's cool to see that they like generally enjoy being around each other. So I'm pretty sure that, I mean, we already saw that it kind of like it bled into the episode where these characters do well with, these actors and actresses do well with one another, and then it shines on the screen.
Yeah, they do so well, embodying everything. I gotta say, like, I think my favorite scene in that episode was Boimler sitting in the bar and Ortegas and Nurse Chapel sit on him and just start poking at him.
Oh,
I'm like, y'all are messed up. And yeah, I can see it. I can definitely see it with those two characters.
The cool part of him touching Pike and be like, oh no, you're real. He was like, computer in program. And they were like, what? No, I'm here. It's like, no, not in program. I'm here. It's me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm me.
Well, there's no holodecks. So, what I actually...
Yeah, there's no
holodecks were invented for the next generation. So, since Strange New Worlds is a prequel to the original series, there are no holodecks. They wouldn't know that.
There is no computer in program. So they're like, what?
Yeah, that's why they were looking at him all strange.
See, I thought they were looking at him strange like, no, stupid, we're real. But no, okay.
There's no holodecks until I believe it was the Enterprise see that had the first, like, that was the time period of the first holodecks. Now what I do gotta say is they planted some really fun seeds, because the whole thing with Spock in that episode was interesting. Where he was like, is Spock all right? There's all this stuff, and he does some really good stuff, and it's like, oh, you're the one that's influencing him. And then it was like, wait, you must be the one. And it was like, you mean the ones they wiped out of the history books because this is all a retcon? Yeah, no, that's good. That's what I was seeing.
It's like, of course it is.
So that was very cool. And
we got team ups. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, him being afraid to talk to Una. That was great.
Yeah. Because when Mariner said a pinup, she was like,
it's like, yeah, he has a poster of you in his bunk.
She was like,
a poster of me in it. What? Excuse me.
She was like, what? A pinup? She was like, well, yeah, it's pinned up.
I mean, it's like, no,
see,
pinned up.
Una was thinking of like,
yeah,
like, what do I hit hard times in the future? Oh man, but it was cool to see the team ups, because we got, Mariner and Uhura. Matter of fact, when Mariner comes through, she's not even tripping on like the time travel part. She's just like, yo, is Uhura here? Like, because I want to meet her. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be here. Like, you can't be. You got to go back.
Well, that's pure lower decks, because she's all out of character knowledge. The whole thing of lower decks is it's the cartoon that says, yeah, we know all of your questions and we know that we're doing all the tropes. Now shut up and enjoy the story. and Mariner is the embodiment of that trope. So it's like, yeah, we're time traveling. While we're here, where's my hero?
It's like, oh no, we'll fix that. Don't worry about that. But
and check out this drink we got. It's an Orion based drink. Yeah.
He's like, actually, it's not nice to assume that all Orions are pirates. So and then they close that loop at the end. Like this episode was fun, man. It was a great treat.
Yeah.
For real.
Especially with Pike being able to be Pike, where it's like, look, let us take the grain back. We'll leave this to doing the thing. It is a time travel device, but what if we said in the history books that y'all discovered it, Orion scientists? And he's like, that's all I ever wanted to be considered. Bet. Y'all have a good day. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much. I literally heard Sam Jackson from Pulp Fiction going, she's Negro. That's all you had to say.
Man,
you're looking at me as something other than a pirate? No, we good. We cool.
So that was awesome. And then of course for that to come from the Federation, like really cements that, because the Federation is such a huge thing. So I know that, that truly made his day. And of course, it changed the course of history.
Well, it solidified history.
Well, yeah, it kind of solidified history.
It was like, no, you've got this person on here with that name. How'd you know that name? I told you, I'm from the future, dude.
Well, at least he didn't ask how he knew the name while he was like trying to beat the crap out of him. So
he was not Ben Affleck, and Boimler was not wearing a cape.
Because
the name wasn't Martha.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Because I actually do think there is a place for how did you know that name, but just that scene and situation wasn't the best place for it.
I refuse to let one bad scene ruin an entire tool for literature for me. I won't do it. I will not do it. No, not happening.
Yeah, that poor movie. Poor movie. Anyway, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Final thoughts on any of the beauty of Star Trek, Lower Decks or Strange New Worlds, and where can they find you?
Okay, so Strange New Worlds is my favorite Star Trek show since Deep Space Nine.
Ooh, all right.
I got it's my favorite one, and I love Discovery. I was all right with Enterprise. I did not like Voyager, and not just because of my hatred for Rick Berman, but now I'm saying that, but I do want to back up for anybody listening. I'm not giving this stuff big reviews because it's my favorite show. The fact that it is my favorite Star Trek show since Deep Space Nine fills me to the brim with trepidation because I don't want them to mess it up. I'm like, please don't let this be the episode. Please don't let this be the episode. That's how I start every episode of Strange New Worlds. And so far that, yeah. Oh my God,
man, you can't live life like that. Come on, man.
I'm trying not
Where's
to,
your faith?
but this is what happens when I like something so much. Charades was brilliant. Although, like I said, it had a little bit too much. It had just a little too much comedy over what could have been an amazing dramatic character study based strip. Because on one hand, you've got Pike going, yeah, no, we'll play charades. I'm like, come on. And the yes, this is what you sound like scene. On top of, I've spent so much of my time trying to be Vulcan that I've been blind to what you've been going through. I'm sorry, mama. I'm like, this should have been the whole episode. You know, yeah, I would have been curled up in a ball crying at my mother's urn, but but it had that potential. So it was still really good. And oh boy, I forgot his name. What's his name? Ethan Peck, in my opinion, is the best Spock since Leonard Nimoy. He has been nailing this role. And the writers are nothing to slouch on either, because they're giving him a lot of good stuff to work with. I was a little salty when he was having so much sex in the first season, but they almost made me forget that.
You know? I mean, you come on. Spock is a young man. He's out there. He's looking good.
I know.
There's ladies out there. You know what I'm saying?
It's a little tough for me because I didn't want Spock to have such a robust, intimate life, considering that Nimoy and Spock turned out to be the biggest sex symbol of the original show. Like, Chekhov got all the girls on script. Shatner tried for all the girls on script, but everyone was in love, like wanted to be with or be Leonard Nimoy back in the 50s and 60s, or back in the 60s and 70s. And I was hoping that this show would kind of put that shine on someone else. And that was just a personal hope. But Charades was great. It was good to see Ethan Peck really stretch his legs as an actor, because it was so easy for him to not just be not Vulcan, but to go too far in the other direction. You get me? It's like that scene in all those movies where the good side of the personality is talking to the bad side of the personality, and one of them is overacting. You know, be it Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man or Andy Serkis in The Two Towers, you know? And he didn't go too far in the other direction. I really liked that they didn't just write him as, okay, this is him with emotions, because they did that with Data. They did that with Spot. They did that with they do it with every Pinocchio character in Star Trek. But turning him into a teenage boy, and then having him have to bond with his mother because she's the only one who really knows where he's coming from, was brilliant. So kudos to that. The episode with the ghosts and the communication, this was a great showcase for the Uhura character. Okay. The deep dive into her past about her family, the fact that she doesn't tend to grieve, and you know, it's just she just kind of bottles it up and moves along with her life, and then putting her story-wise in a situation where that was used not just to torment her, but by another species who could only use that to reach out to beg for help. I thought that was great. It is very original series, very Roddenberry-esque. Because Roddenberry didn't want an action show. He wanted a character study and a philosophical... he wanted the show to be a philosophical look on morality tales. And that one really just climbed right to it. It was like, boom, this was very much the original series as intended. Loved it. Pulled it off using a lot of the lessons that they learned from the next generation. So I love that evolution. And finally, those old scientists, I hope, wish, and pray that they never do that again. Because I can't take it. I just can't take it. I can't stand laughing that hard for that long. And again, I love Lower Decks. I love that show. I'm almost caught up on season 3. And you know, it has the right amount of cynicism and cynical story tropes, but it does the thing I wish more things would do, and they brought that into TOS, which is I don't like how the modern audience, instead of engaging with stories and materials, they spend so much time patting themselves on the back because they know the tropes and they feel clever that they don't involve themselves in the story. They don't invest. You know, they're like, well, I already know how it's going to end, so I don't care. And it's like, yeah, but how it gets there, the character growth, all the stuff that goes along with the story, you know, not just the end. Call me crazy. And Lower Decks does it well. And bringing in that Lower Decks cynicism weighed against Strange New Worlds' earnestness, these writers and directors and actors really threaded the needle.
Yeah.
And I don't think they can do it again. Yeah, and I don't think they can do it again, so I don't want them to try.
I think they can do it again and say another 2-3 seasons, you know, or maybe do it with like another ship or something like that. I think as long as it's not like, you know, the yearly, well, you know what, as I say this, maybe so, but like the yearly Halloween episode, like, you know what, maybe so. Maybe, you know, maybe once a year, you know, there's a joint mission.
You know, maybe if they bring in like Don Lewis or the actor that plays the head of security on the Cerritos, like, I know they wouldn't bring in the
already
cat doctor.
Laughing.
You know,
no, the cat well, effects wise, doing the cat doctor would be tough.
Yeah, it's just too expensive.
That episode with the cat doctor, did she have to hibernate or something? Where people were like, yo, where is she at? Like, I can't remember. Something happened with a cat doctor. I think she had to hibernate or something.
Well, everything about the cat doctor's character makes her one of my favorite doctors in all of Star Trek history. And I mean that. Specifically, the vaccination episode had me on the floor for a day and a half. Like, I managed to give everyone their shots except for one last person. I know. Catch me. And I'm like, yep. That's what it's like trying to get a cat to go to the vet. Right there.
And it's like, but you're a doctor.
But man, she's a cat.
Yeah, it was perfect, man. It was perfect.
So yeah. Now if they do that again, I would like to see them bring in cast members from the other shows into Lower Decks. I think that would be a better way to do it.
Which we kind of got at the end of the episode, sort of.
Yeah, and they did a Lower Decks episode where they go to Deep Space Nine, and they had Nana Visitor and Armin Sherman. So, you know, just bringing the older actors in to voice over their characters from other shows in Lower Decks, I think works a lot better.
Okay.
But if they are going to do another crossover, I'd like another crossover with Discovery. But we'll see how Discovery ends in the next season or two.
Because I think this season is their last one, right? Or
Mhm.
okay, so yeah.
So to have Captain Pike actually um have a final talk with Captain Berman after everything that she's gone through, or Burnham, you know, to have Chris and Michael talk, and to have Strange New Worlds' Spock have a talk with his sister after everything she's accomplished at the end of her career and all that stuff through time. I think that would be cool. I think that would be
Okay.
cool, since Discovery was the gateway to Strange. Discovery was essentially the pilot for Strange New Worlds. And I think that would be a
Yeah,
good
because they did
crossover
kind of
wrap
do
up.
like a back door for that sort of.
Yeah. So, but crossing over with doing the whole crossover thing with Lower Decks. I kind of want Lower Decks to stay in its own lane because it excels best there.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. But all in all, this was the funniest episode. It felt less like a Strange New Worlds episode and more like a Lower Decks episode, which is why I don't want them to try it again. Because they threaded the needle this time, but I don't want them to try it again, going, well, this really worked last time, so let's do it again. You see what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because,
Gotcha.
Regardless of my feelings and thoughts on Hollywood, with all my love and my respect and my hatred and my frustration with it, the one thing that they are consistent for is learning the wrong lesson. Again, Black Panther makes $1.2 billion globally in the box office, and the lesson they took from it was people like movies with cats.
Oh boy. Hey, look, let's get out of here. I ain't even gonna mess with that one. People like movies.
Yeah,
with
I know, I'm
cats.
being that guy.
So where can wonderful people find you?
You guys can find me Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on both YouTube and Twitch at twitch.tv/BID_P, and on the Solar Gray YouTube channel. Just look for Solar Gray or BidP Blurred. I'm live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Hit the HBO crew, guys, like, subscribe, all that other stuff. And if you subscribe on Twitch, don't use your money. Use Bezos's money, because you get a free subscription if you have Amazon Prime. So use that free subscription on me, because that really helps us out. And I know what it's like to have way too many subscriptions and way too many monthly recurring automatic deductions out of your bank account. So just come on down to the channel and subscribe with your Amazon Prime account once a month. You get some good stuff. We do great shows on pop culture, games, a lot of life skills. And I mean a lot of life skills. And we're all about positivity and how to navigate the world as you go through it, as you change and as it changes around you. So come on down and check that out.
All right. That's what's up. And of course, the only final thought that I have about this is, guys, hold on to your butts, because this is 3 episodes in a row where everything's generally okay. So I think our crew is going to go through some tumultuous times very soon. This is 3 episodes in a row where everything's kind of okay, not too dangerous. Everybody made it out. So just be aware. I think the tough times is coming. But of course, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. We love all y'all. And until the next time we go warp speed, it's from us to you saying peace.
Later, guys.